Let's be honest, authors are weird. Now, not like, just quirky with your aunt with the seven cats kind of weird. We're talking chronically haunted by fictional people and compelled by ancient muses at 3 a.m., that kind of level of weird, right? To the untrained eye, they might seem like ordinary humans. We might seem like ordinary humans who enjoy coffee and cardigans, but step closer and you'll realize that you're actually living with a myth-making machine that's currently juggling like 6 alternate timelines and crying over the death of someone they made up. So this guide, it's for the brave souls who live with, love, or accidentally married a writer. Okay, but really, it's for the writers themselves to laugh, to be seen. And so maybe to forward this to someone with like a subject line, please read before interacting with me ever again. So number 1, I am the founder of a community, a fiction writing community called LegendFiction. You're watching it on this channel. My name is Dominic. I've been writing since forever, since I was a kid. And all of this is straight out of my life, hopefully to share with yours, and I hope you have fun with it. So number 1, authors are actually Narnian wardrobes in disguise. From the outside, an author appears harmless, maybe, sitting still, sipping some tea, maybe muttering to themselves in iambic pentameter, but inside, absolute, unrelenting, multiverse mayhem. And we're not ignoring you, right? We're currently we're hosting an emergency summit between 7 interstellar monarchs, a time-traveling assassin, and a goat who just became sentient. Our brains are wardrobes, but they're filled with lightsabers and ancient ruins, cosmic betrayals, and at least 3 wars that need ending right now. So here's a helpful insight. Don't mistake stillness for serenity. The author mind is not quiet, it's symphonic. Learn to respect the pause, and the best ideas often come in the gaps between words. So stillness is sacred. And so here's a habit for loved ones. Before interrupting an author who looks zoned out, ask them, "Are you in Narnia right now?" And if yes, back away slowly and offer snacks at the door. All right, number 2. Authors are host to a small, conflicted population. At any given moment, your beloved author is carrying about 17 characters in their mind. 4 are plotting a revolution, 3 are in a love triangle, and 2 are possibly dead, and all of them want screen time. So when we stare into a distance, right, we're not bored. We're conducting therapy, perhaps between a necromancer and his long-lost undead mother. So here's a helpful insight. Now, this inner cast, it's a blessing. It's not a bug. It means the writer is doing the deep human work of holding multiple perspectives, wrestling with contradiction, and seeing from the inside out. This builds empathy and sometimes insanity. So here's a habit for loved ones. Ask open-ended questions like, what's your favorite character dealing with today? And not only will the author then light up, they might actually decompress. Bonus, you'll learn the lore without having to read a 400,000-word draft. All right, number 3. Our default mode is crisis, lightly seasoned with magic. And sometimes an idea just ambushes us in the shower. All right, other times it waits until a funeral. Inspiration has terrible timing. This is why your author has 87 notes on their phone, a voice memo of them yelling, "The tree is the key," at 2:17 a.m. And that's why they have a haunted look at brunch. So here's a helpful insight. Inspiration often breaks things before it builds. Writing is less like painting, it's more like alchemy, right? It requires fire, unmaking, rebuilding. Interruptions can feel like losing the thread of reality. So here's a habit for us, for loved ones. Avoid sudden schedule changes when a writer is in the flow. Respect that writing time, even if it looks like they're just staring at a blank wall. The wall is the crucible of their entire fictional universe. All right, number 4, characters are real, like really real. We've mourned fictional deaths maybe harder than some actual relatives. We've argued with someone who technically doesn't exist while brushing our teeth. And yes, we're in a complicated emotional affair with a pirate priest we invented during a caffeine spiral. So here's a helpful insight. This is a form of emotional truth processing. Writers often explore parts of ourselves through our characters, and what looks like melodrama can often be deep work in disguise. So here's a habit for loved ones. When they say, I think I have to kill her, or don't call the cops, just nod, pour tea, and say, tell me why. You're now their unofficial therapist. Congratulations. Okay, number 5. They are basically low-level DID actors. You've seen them pace the living room, mid-conversation, changing accents, stabbing the air with a pen and monologuing about betrayal. It's not possession. This is rehearsal. Authors often become their characters to get the voice right. It's not weird. It's method. So here's a helpful insight. This is a way to embody empathy, stepping inside another mind, another accent, another life. It's how stories grow limbs and lungs. This is a practice for compassion in the wildest way. So here's a habit for loved ones. Don't mock the voices. Now, unless they're trying a Scottish accent and it's really bad, then gently roast them. Otherwise, accept that dinner may involve a duel. All right, number 6. Their emotional support system is entirely fictional. When things get hard, we turn to a sarcastic elf, a long-suffering magical mentor, or a sassy AI for comfort. No judgment. These inner allies are often more available than real people. So here's a helpful insight. Fictional relationships can be healing because they represent ideals like wisdom, courage, unconditional acceptance, the kind of things that writers may not often find in the wild. So let them lean on these companions. They're real in the ways that matter. And here's a habit then for loved ones. Ask them which character helped them through a hard time. Don't say, they're not real. That's like telling a musician their song isn't alive. Move on, number 7. When words don't come, it hurts. Writer's block, if you get it, it isn't laziness. It's soul silence. It feels like being locked out of your own house while the party goes on without you. They aren't being dramatic. We aren't being dramatic. We're grieving the loss of connection to the very thing that keeps us sane. So here's a helpful insight. In these moments, kindness matters more than solutions. Perhaps don't try to fix it. Just be there. Writing is how we metabolize life, and when it gets blocked, life gets stuck. So here's a habit for loved ones. Maybe leave a note that says something like, I believe in your story, it matters. One line like that can be the bridge back into the work. Number 8, we are actively disassociating with purpose. Yes, we look like we're staring into space while the kettle boils. It's because we're watching a phoenix battle a serpent in a dreamscape shaped like our childhood kitchen. This is functional disassociation, and it's also known as plotting. So here's a helpful insight. This mental drifting, it's not avoidance, it's access. It's how subconscious patterns rise to the surface. It's dreamwork. Daydreaming is often where the best breakthroughs happen. So here's a habit then for loved ones. Don't snap them out of it unless there's a fire. Instead, try asking, where were you just now? You might be invited into something astonishing. Number 9, rejection is the daily breakfast cereal. We've been ghosted by agents, ignored by editors, and read by 3 people, one of whom is their mom and the other was busy. Writing means signing up for perpetual emotional whiplash, and yet we show up again and again. So here's a helpful insight. Resilience is forged in this fire. Every no is part of this mythic test, and what matters is not the rejection itself, but the return to the page. So honor the courage that comes with staying. Here's a habit for loved ones. Celebrate the effort, not always the outcome. When they get a no, take them out for a cake. Make the ritual about bravery and not just the results. And number 10, they're trying to save the world one scene at a time. This isn't just storytelling, right? It's soul work. Writers are modern myth makers. They're shaping worlds so that others can survive this one. We don't just write for attention, frankly, just because we must write. So if we're weeping over a death scene from a story that we haven't written yet, just know that pain is sacred. They're mid-rescue mission for someone, somewhere, who will one day need that story. Here's a helpful insight. Stories are how we understand who we are. Authors translate the unspoken, the invisible, the lost. That work is exhausting, and it's also sacred. So here's a habit for loved ones. Sometimes the best support is silence, and it's a warm meal, a long hug, and a whispered, "What you're doing matters." So here's why the world needs authors, even if we keep forgetting where we put our tea. Authors aren't just people who tell stories. They're the ones who are among us who sit still long enough to hear what the world is trying to say beneath all the noise. They carry the burden of attention, of noticing patterns others miss, of feeling too much, of translating silence into sentences. They're emotional cartographers, mapping the inner lives of humanity so that we can find our way through heartbreak, hope, and all the spaces in between. They take the raw materials of memory, myth, pain, humor, wonder. They shape them into something that can be shared, something that can survive, something that might just change someone's life, or at the very least, help them make it through Tuesday. Writers help us to feel seen when the world tries to forget us. They hold up a mirror, not just to reflect, but to reveal. And that's no small thing. We do it without guarantees, without applause, often without sleep. And we do it because something in us says, this matters. And it does. So if you're living with a writer, if you love one or support one or you are one, here's the real truth. We're not broken. We're not lazy. We're not strange for hearing voices, needing silence, or crying over someone who never existed. We're struggling along through sacred work. Yeah, even when it looks like chaos. So when we're wrapped in these soft sweaters, we're surrounded by half-filled mugs of coffee and way too many notebooks. We might be juggling 3 side jobs, starting 5 projects at once, or chasing a dozen new ideas in a single afternoon, because all of it is fuel. It's how we gather the raw ingredients needed to make sense of a world that rarely does make sense. Writers are often asked, often silently and without thanks, to see deeper, to feel more, to track what others overlook. That takes a bigger mental kitchen, more supplies, more wandering, more false starts, and hey, I've got a new idea at texts at 1 a.m. We don't need pressure to just finish something. If it matters enough, we will. What we need is space, support, and someone who understands that soul work takes time. And sometimes the best stories arrive slowly, like bread arriving or rising in the dark. Writers carry the emotional myths of our time. They give language to what the rest of us only feel. And so the next time that you pass by the writer in your life, whether they're lost in thought or laughing at their own made-up dialogue, remember this. They're not just making up stories, they're learning how to build soul shelters for the rest of us to live in. So let them, and thank them. And if you're an author reading this, remember, you're not alone. Your madness has meaning, your strangeness might be sacred, and your story might save someone's world. So now, go and write it. After snacks, always after snacks. And if you're the kind of writer where this resonates with you and matters to you, come and check out our online community at legendfiction.com. Maybe you'll find a couple of other writers who enjoy writing the same way that you do.